Welcome back to Backyard Mechanics. On this episode, we are going to start tackling some of that horrendous wiring on the F350, and we're also going to put the Clevo back where it belongs, in the engine bay of Townado. Let's get to it. Obviously got cooling issues with the F-truck. That radiator was full of gunk and junk and crap and Christ knows what, so we needed a new radiator, and of course going turbo. Turbo means you need something else. That's an intercooler, so that's what these two boxes are for. We have an intercooler and a radiator from Mishimoto. Now, I thought I was going to have to get a universal one or something. I thought there's no chance someone actually makes an affordable, good quality, off-the-shelf radiator for an old F-truck, but to my surprise, someone does, and that someone is Mishimoto. So, bit of a care. I think it's an air freshener. That's pretty cool. That's their little logo there. Penguin, because as you can see on here, it says they're the world leaders in cooling performance products. So
we might need that inside the old F-truck. There's a few smells in that thing.
It's a bit funky. It's a bit funky in there. So this is pretty good idea for packaging. I thought they were sending me lollies or something, but there you go. It's what's that? 1.3 bar, so 20 psi radiator cap, which is good. So with coolant, the higher the pressure in the cooling system, the higher temperature you can actually push your cooling system to. So good thing about this packaging is it's bang, there it goes.
It's a bit bigger than the Honda Civic radiator.
Wowzers, that is way bigger than Honda Civic radiator. Best part about packaging from these guys, which I really like, this stuff's just cardboard, so it's recyclable. I really hate it when...
Oh, the foam.
I hate it when
you can't put it in the bin.
Those bloody foam pallets, they go everywhere, and...
You can't really dispose of them.
Nah, they're just... All that stuff is bad for the environment. They won't break down and that, so good work on these guys.
This thing looks like it holds 10 litres.
That packaging. Look at this. Have a look at this. It's all nicely polished and stuff. Internal cooler for auto trans. No auto trans in our car yet. Drain, which is awesome. Obviously a lot of the factory tanks don't have that, which is really annoying. You know, the 626 radiator never had a drain, and I welded one in place, so having a drain is wicked. Gee, that looks really good.
It's huge.
That is massive too. Look at the cooling capacity here. So aluminium by design is significantly better at transferring heat than brass or copper or whatever they used to use in years gone by. So you can get away with a very narrow radiator. If you go and pop the bottom of your factory car out in your driveway now and have a look at the radiator, it's probably only 35, 40 mil thick. This thing looks like it's full 76 mil, like a 3-inch
most aftermarket radiators in a car might go from 40 to 50.
Yeah, that's it. So I mean, most of them buy it. They said that, but the bigger cooling capacity, obviously, the bigger awesome. The engine. This looks wicked. So it's 3-core. So it's 3-core aluminium. So it's often they have sort of 2-core. So the cores are the inside of here. You probably won't be able to see that. There's little cores and tubes and fins. So that's got 3 rows of that in there, which means it's obviously the capacity to be increased. But the best part about this is, I mean, it looks killer. It's nicely polished, but it's also going to be bolt-in as well. So that is that. Lay that one there. And the next part is this one. So, strangely enough, no one does make a bolt-in intercooler for a Ford F350 that's never had a turbo in its life. So
I'm shocked.
Total shock that no one actually makes a intercooler for that. However, this one's going to be perfect.
Right.
So,
perfect size, not too big.
Now, what you'll normally see is guys with, I mean, this is pretty much the opposite of if you owned a VL Commodore, what you would fit. You know, people normally go for 6 by 300 by XYZ, and they're just huge and hard to fit. We're running limited boost on this thing. So we don't need
That's a nice bit of kit.
the world's biggest intercooler, but have a look at that.
It's a bar and plate
Bar
style.
and plate, yep,
Yeah.
that's it. So bar and plate. There's serial number up there, so you know who built it. Look at that, lifetime warranty. How cool is that? Don't see
That's
much
really
of that
cool.
in. I mean, for the price of this, to have a lifetime warranty, you don't see much of that. So it's got they're nice cast end tanks, which are nice and strong as well, and that's pretty light. That's pretty light too. So it's the bar and plate construction.
Yeah.
But that's good. That'll suit our that'll suit what we need to do really, really well. Because, yeah, like I said, I mean the front of the car's just over here actually, or truck, should I say? And I didn't want something. How random is this? I don't know if people have seen this, but this is the entire front end of my F truck just sitting on the back tray of it. But that'll just sit there, so you can see that's perfect. That's exactly where we need it to sit. So
Spot
I
on.
couldn't be sitting any better. So we've got our cooling package here all sorted for our F truck. Pumped to put this in because I wasn't sure what I was actually going to do with it. I really wasn't looking forward to getting some universal radiator and having to put brackets onto it and making this stuff. That might be cool for YouTube content, but I tell you what, it takes hours and it's annoying. When you can just buy a bolt-in one like this, price almost becomes irrelevant. The amount of time you save just buying something off the shelf, and this is a good product and at a very reasonable price too. So thanks a lot. Mishimoto, great stuff. Go follow the guys there. They've got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc., you name it, across all the socials. Time to get this in the F truck now and get boosting. All right, super stoked because bang, engine is back in the F truck finally. Time to piece it all back together now. So just got a gasket there and a little bit of gasket goo. This surface wasn't cleaned or decked really at all, so just want to make sure seals 100% spot on. Nice bit of blue against the some gloss black. Got a bit of a paint booth going on here because I want to paint everything before it goes in. So I've got my starter motor down there. Whatever this little starter motor adapter plate thingy or whatever. Don't know, that's obviously a Cleveland thing. Most of the other stuff in. Oh, and also our spacers. So to get this up and running, what I'm going to be doing is fitting the FuelTech with FT550, and I'll fit the gas system just to make sure that I basically need to push the car out, or the truck, sorry. Get in trouble for calling it a car. Get the truck out here so I can actually get the 626 out because the engine's pretty much back in that and ready to go. So this beast here is holding things up a bit. So just want to get it back up and running, and putting the FuelTech in it will allow us to get it registered anyway, because FuelTech can do whether doing road speed, water temp, oil temp, all that kind of stuff, oil pressure, as well as spark. So we'll be controlling spark with the new distributor we've got set up. So gas system can do whatever it needs to do, and we will then have FuelTech doing the spark just very temporarily, get it registered, get it on the road, get it out the way so we can get the 626 out and tuned, and then just put the EFI on it, which will be simple because we've already basically wired it anyway. So we'll just get that all up and running now. Talk to spec. Alright, might move on to the old headers now. Now, what is really good for taking up imperfections, if you didn't know already, is gasket goo. It's essentially, again, just a really, really thin skim coating of it. I have to remember to see if I put the bumper on first or the front. Let me put the front fascia on first. So put the other headlight on. I've tucked the wiring so far for all the headlights and that down that hole. It runs up inside the guard here. I just drilled another hole there behind the headlight for that to come out. Just got to work out, I may end up running those ones out another hole here, run them all the way along here and then up, and That should be good. That should hide a lot of the wiring. There's a lot of just junk in that here last time, so looking to get rid of as much as that and just give it a nice clean look. What we've got here is the wiring harness. So this is essentially the junction point. So here comes off to the Fueltech FT550. These go off to the fuse box. I've got the flex fuel sensor there as well because that might go to the rear of the car, I'm not sure yet. And all of this has to go to the engine bay, so it's very easy to now lay in knowing, okay, I've got to feed all those wires in through the engine bay, through a grommet somewhere. I'll leave this part coming somewhere through an opening in the dash somewhere up there, and this part of the harness has to be left behind the dash hidden. So feed some of this through now and see how much of this length, because obviously this length you probably don't need all that in the engine bay either, so we can hide some of that, but time to feed it through and see how much we've got. So I've actually mounted the radiator forward a fair bit more because I need to fit the intercooler in, of course. So I've got myself plenty of room there. I've probably got another, just space it up there, but I think I've got another 30mm there to play with. So what I'm going to do is make some 30mm spaces out of this, so I can space this radiator back, because as you can see in here, looks like a fair bit of room, but the Davies Craig fan that we've got is the big boy. It's the big daddy in the range. It's the 16-inch one. So I didn't want to go with two 12-inch fans. I'm pretty sure the single 16 either moves the same or more volume of air than two 12s. So you got to think about when you've got two 12s is, yes, it's 12-inch. However, you know, a big portion of it's taken up by a motor in the middle. So this one moves a heap of air, but it's also, you know, it's also pretty deep. Space that back 30mm, and that should give me enough room to at least fit it a fair way into the core, and then we should be pretty good. So if it doesn't take up all that, I might make a shroud or something to make sure it pulls through all the air. So all good. We'll get that space back now. Yes. That's what I'm talking about right there. Alright, so the top radiator hose has been modified. This bottom one, now they've obviously relocated where this radiator is, needs a bit of work as well. So I'm not sure if I need to cut it just yet, but I'll try and finagle it in. If not, and plumbers will probably know what this is, but it's sort of like a PVC pipe cutter, but I've found this is absolutely incredible for cutting silicone hose and radiator hoses and that really cleanly, really straightly and easily. And it's just, as you can see, it's a ratchet action, so it holds the hose in place, and then when it's finished, bang. So if you're looking to cut rubber hose or fuel hose or silicone hose and that, get onto a set of those. Here's the fuse box and the relays. All that stuff's connected up. This just connects to that. All the power feeds for all these things are the relay triggers, and then obviously the main dash sits there. There's nothing sort of here. Do I maybe keep this looking factory and a little bit old school in the old factory dash, and then just mount the Fueltech actually here? It's still in my field of vision. It's still basically right in front of me, so I might have a little play with mounting it in between here and see how it goes versus there. But yeah, I'm actually liking it. Might mount it here. You can just trim this here and just get a nice piece of, you know, ABS black plastic or something and mount it there and see how we go, and rejuvenate this piece on here because it's very weathered. Alright, we've got a mess of wires everywhere. So this is what you do when you test cars. Very unnerving when you take the top end off, that, you know, proper oil pressure, but as you can see, bang, this is the easiest way to test it. So the oil feed to the back of the block, and that's up there. This will run over to my oil pressure sensor, but for now, just taking the lead off, and all I want to see is oil coming out of there, which you can see already. So and that is a very good sign. So sometimes custom cars need custom car part solutions. That's exactly what this is. So the radiator tube currently doesn't fit. It's not very straightforward either. It's like I think it's 1 3/4 inches here and 2 inches down here. So, you know, you can't just get that in one piece. I would have had to have made,
If I wanted to custom make one myself, maybe I would have got a silicon, say 1 3/4 inch, and then I would have had to make get an adapter and stuff like that, another piece of 2 inch silicon. So this radiator hose is actually fine, it's in good condition. So I've just cut it here, and all I needed really was to extend it. So I've just extended with some aluminium tube, 1 3/4 inch, and then I've just used this tool, which puts this bead on it there. So nice, neat, clean, fairly pronounced bead. As I'm making this custom air conditioner heater universal sort of system, one thing that is missing is this, which is a heater tap. So obviously, as radiator coolant is traveling through these tubes to that box there the whole time, without one of these, hot water is just going to flow through that core in there, and it's permanently going to be blowing out hot air. So definitely don't want that. This fixes it. So this is just simply open close, and that's all I need. I don't need any return loop or anything like that. Something like this is pretty much common with cars back then. Time to get this thing back on all 6, I guess, not all 4, all 6. So a few more bushes to go. Just replacing some of the old stuff now. It's cheap. This is a gearbox bush nut. So this mount is new. This one's not so new. This one doesn't look bad, but well, this one's mega cheap. Body mounts might need replacing. They are flogged. Thought I'd just come over and check the brakes before, and this is what I was greeted with. Now, this was actually almost dead empty, and this isn't, but you can see the colour of that. I don't know if it comes out that well, but I'm pretty sure your brakes aren't meant to have mud in them, and the mud in the system. So this one at the rear, you could sort of see through it. It's not too bad, but it looks pretty contaminated anyway. But this, yeah, no thanks. I do have another master because I thought I was going to run into a bit of this kind of stuff, so that's fine. So running checklist now of what I've sort of replaced on this truck is, I'll start from the rear. Back is all the tyres, of course. Most of the rims are damaged, so I've replaced some of those. The drums, the shoes, all the springs, the wheel cylinders, replace the bearings. Coming forward, replace the transmission mount. Coming forward again to the engine, replace the clutch, replace the slave cylinder. Going to now replace the brake master cylinder. And the engine, I've replaced all the gaskets. I've replaced all the hoses. I've now got new Mishimoto aluminium radiator as well. I've got Davies Craig thermofan. Replaced all the ignition leads. Of course, I've got the Fuel Tech ECU on it, but I thought this was going to be a bit of a simple job and just do a bit of a tidy up on this thing and get it back on the road. But looks like this truck was a little bit worse than what I thought it was. So, going to be pretty close to sort of close to be about 4 ton, bit over 4 ton all up. Also replacing the kingpins and the entire front end and every bush and everything up in this head too, and all the body mounts. So it's probably heaps of stuff I'm actually forgetting. The heater box, all of that as well. So, geez, it's just about everything on this thing. So you have to expect it, but when you buy vehicles this old, I mean, it was made, 1976, and I don't know if it's had a heap of love over its years either. So whatever, we'll just keep on replacing stuff. It's not overly expensive. The parts on this thing are pretty inexpensive, which is a bonus. It's not working on a rotary or resto panels for a XWGT or whatever that. So keep on plugging on one thing at a time and just keep on ticking off the boxes, and hopefully we can get it on the road soon. Time to fill this thing with some fluids. Mishimoto radiator cap off. A nice bucket here, as you can see. I'm going to put gear in the gearbox as well, because I dumped that and that was looking like mud. We've seen what the master cylinder looks like, so we knew what this was like. Not a good story, really. But now, back on the winning path. So, whack some of this green stuff here from Penrite in. Nice, then we can start and run it for a bit. because I need this thing to move on its own power so I can actually start using my garage again. Alright. Mix this up. This is a concentrate, but we've already put some in, so here we go. I don't actually know the capacity of this coolant system, but I imagine it's a lot. This radiator is huge. Pouring tip technique. If you pour it just like this, you see it glugs. Because the air out here, if you turn on its side, look at that. Much better. And that's our tech tip of the day. So far, this thing has swallowed 17.5 litres. That is unbelievable. My God, but there are no leaks under there, but have a look at the mess I have to clean up. That's a problem for Paul for another day. 17.5 litres all up, so including what's in here at the moment, 17.5 litres. For reference, I reckon I put about 7 litres in Project Redline, so this literally has over double, 1.5, 2.5 times sort of the cooling capacity of our little Mazda rotary drag car. So, oh well, next. Time to fill the transmission. Alright, tip for new players, we're going to change the gear oil now, or put the gear oil in. We've already dumped it. This is the fill plug. This is traditionally what they'll look like. Just that, just a square. You just put a spanner on it, remove it. You should always remove this first before dumping the oil out of your transmission. Now, why do you think that might be? I'll give you some thinking music and maybe put your comments in below on YouTube. Yeah, that should do it. So, people may say, oh, it's, just like you'd pull a dipstick out and take the oil cap off from your engine when you're draining it to make sure it all drains out and drains quicker. The actual reason you would always want to remove the fill plug before filling a gearbox is simple. If you cannot get this out because it is seized in or rounded off, and you dump all the oil out of your transmission, how do you think you're going to get the oil back in the transmission? So always remove this first to make sure that there's not a problem with this, because if this rounds off or seizes or whatever, you've got a major problem that you need to sort out first. You need to get this off first before you can dump the fluid, because if you can't get fluid back in, you ain't going nowhere. Time to fill the trans. Jerry rigged a bit of a hose with a brass fitting down there. You will not be able to see that, so why am I showing it? I got the funnel, throwing a bit of this in first because it says it is an additive that promotes quite a running transmission, smoother shifts, and I tell you what, this thing needs all the help I can get. So time to fill her up. So to get this thing roadworthy spec, there's a couple of little things left to do. One of them is the new heater air conditioner sort of module setup that we've got, all contained unit. We need to route, it's got 4 outlets on the top, so we need to route those outlets to the vents at the top of the dash, something out to the driver, and then also want something to go down to the feet. So easiest solution to that is just trying to think of where to buy the ducting from, and bang, I just remembered that I had some of this lying around. So this is 2-inch, what would generally be brake ducting for when you performance brakes, if you're calling like on a circuit car or something. So, and then a trip to Bunnings, some PVC pipe, and that just goes straight in there, and with that, job done. So that'll make it easy. What I'll do more than likely is, I do have 4 outlets, so I will split one of them with this to go to 2 outlets on the dash. I'll split again one of the other outlets to go to down at the feet on either side of the cabin, and then the other 2 outlets I'll run independently to the right side and the left side of inside the cab to get some better airflow to the driver's face sort of. So that'll be enough. It's actually a really small cabin, really small space in there. So if you actually cubed it out, it's probably still half the size of a tiny little Mazda 2 or something like that. So it's a really small space. So this this fan module setup should work really well. Still have to work out doing air conditioning on this. So I have to work out getting what compressor fits and what brackets and that, because I think the OE brackets are pretty expensive. People know it's sort of rare as rocking horse shit these days. So those kind of things, power steering or whatnot, really expensive to buy the OE brackets. So might end up just making something myself. So that'll be all good, but let's get plumbing.
All right, so truck's coming back together really well. Engine's back in, most of the stuff's there. Next, we're gonna get this thing running. So Fuel Tech, time to wire it in, set up the ECU and get it going, because I wanna hear this thing parental life.
And like always, support the people who support us.